morning. Welcome to Power Yoga with Evie. Hope you can see me okay this morning. It's a little dim today, so I'm just checking on the lighting. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and get started in a wide child's pose. Let's go ahead and take some deep breaths in our child's pose. On your next inhale, walk your hands over to the left side of your mat. Exhale into the stretch. Take another deep breath. Exhale, and on your inhale, walk your hands to the other side of the mat. Exhale, inhale, exhale. And then walk your hands all the way back to center. Forehead comes back to center. And gently roll onto your forearms, lift your hips, and line up your feet and knees together. And then walk your hands forward for puppy pose. So your chest can come all the way down or your forehead can come down. Think about pressing the hips back. Let's take a couple deep breaths in puppy pose. And go ahead and come up to your tabletop. Let's take the right hand up to the sky, twisting open the torso. And then releasing that hand back down to the mat. Left hand lifts up. Take a big breath. Exhale, bring hands back down to the mat. Let's go again on the right. Just opening up, reaching high, taking a big breath. Exhale to bring the hand back down to the mat. Let's go one more time on that left side. Coming back to your tabletop, let's go ahead and take some hip circles here. And then come back into your tabletop and move through some cat and cow pose. Taking a big breath to open the collarbone for cow. Exhaling into cat, rounding the spine. And feel free to move back into your hip circles, or perhaps move through some more cat and cow. Maybe another child's poses in your practice this morning. Let's go ahead and take about 5 more deep breaths. I'm going to sink back into child's pose. And wherever you're at, let's make our way back into tabletop. We're going to bring the right foot up in between the hands and just work on that hip a little bit, pushing into the left side hip and then pushing back into the right side hamstring and glute. So if you're feeling at all tender or sore or tense this morning, really take your time in these. Really allow your breath to move freely. And feel free to use your hands as a guide. This morning's practice is going to include some crescent lunges, so this particular stretch is really important to work on now in the beginning of our practice, as we'll be going through that bigger pose later on. So take some time to work on opening up the hamstrings, the quads, the glutes, anything that feels good in your body to help stretch those muscles, help relieve tension in those muscles. I'm going to start to switch over to the left side, bringing my right knee back into tabletop and just shaking out my hips before I work on the left side. You might notice parts of your body feel different on either side, so just really become aware of your breath and what is taking place in your body to make space. If something hurts, it's a good thing to back off, but notice what kind of pain it is. If it's a pain from stretching, maybe work into that pain a little bit more until it eases up. But if it's something that's causing a lot of distress, then maybe don't do that posture. I'm going to meet back up into tabletop. Hands under shoulders and knees under hips. And we're going to press back into our bird dog. So kicking back one foot, making sure you're pressing through the heel, and then reaching forward with your opposite hand. Let's come into our breath for 10 breaths. Start to bend your knee and reach back for your toes, opening the chest. Deep breath here. Releasing, shaking that out, coming back to the breath. Try that on the other side and going at your own pace. Opening up the chest and then releasing that posture. Let's go back into our child's pose. Take your knees wide. Allow your toes to touch behind you. And bring your forehead down to the mat. 5 breaths. And then start to press yourself into downward dog, taking a big breath along the way. Walk out your dog, pedal out your feet. And let's roll out to a high plank. Drop down to low push-up. Feel free to go to those knees. Take a breath, upward facing dog. And let that go. Exhale into downward dog. Start walking your feet up to your hands. Really pressing in through your arches, toes, heels. Coming to ragdoll. Just pause in stillness if you haven't already. Perhaps you'd like to set an intention for your practice here. Intentions can be really simple. Perhaps an I am statement. Perhaps something you want to see in your life manifest. Or perhaps something you want healed. All of those are really great options to set an intention with. Here in Ragdoll, take a couple more deep breaths, noticing how your body feels here in stillness. And then start to bring motion into your body, perhaps shaking your head yes and no, perhaps swaying your hips or bending your knees. And let's walk our hands all the way down to the mat and twist off to one side. And the other side. Feel free to try that again on both sides. Twisting, breathing, twisting and breathing. And then make your way up to stand. Let's bring the feet together under the hips. And open the palms. Lifting the crown of your head, look straight ahead. Take 3 deep breaths. Let's go ahead and inhale, hands up overhead. Grab the palms, clasp your fingers together, and gently just lean to one side. Take a big breath. On the exhale, lean to the other side. Let's go ahead and take a couple more. And then come back up to center. Release your hands. Look up. And exhale, bringing those hands together at heart center. Try an Om with me here. Take a big breath in. Inhale and reach up overhead. With your exhale, fold forward. Inhale to a halfway lift. And exhale to a fold. Step back into a high plank position. Take a big breath in your plank. On your exhale, press your hips back to downward facing dog. And then inhale your right toes to the sky. Bend your knee, open the hip. Twisting open from the hip. Drawing the heel towards the bottom. Let's keep the shoulders square. Let's try bringing that knee up to the nose as well. And then extend your leg long, toes release to the floor. Try that on the left. Inhale to lift. Exhale as you twist open the hip. Try drawing that knee up to the nose. And extend your leg long. Toes come back down to the mat. Walk your hands all the way back to your toes or jump forward, chair pose. And forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Come back into your chair pose. And let's bring the hands into the chest and twist to one side. Release your chair pose. Take a halfway lift. Forward fold. Inhale, chair. Exhale, twist. One more big breath in. Exhale to fold. Halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Find yourself in a high plank position and move through your chaturanga. Low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Roll out to your high plank. Then take a side plank. One hand comes to the center of the mat. And if you need a little modification, drop one knee down onto the mat. And let's take that top arm overhead, pushing through the hips, stretching the side body. Big breath in. Exhale. Take another big breath in. And exhale. Come back to your center plank, moving through your chaturanga. Meeting in our downward dog. Take another breath. Exhale, roll out to high plank. Take your opposite side plank. One more breath here. And move back into your high plank or your chaturanga. Into downward facing dog. And from your downward dog, just take a few deep breaths. You're welcome to move into child's pose. Let this be your quick rest. And then from your downward dog, take those right toes to the ceiling. Step up into warrior one. And let's take humble warrior. Also this morning, you're going to push back, straightening the leg, opening up to the side in that warrior one. So think about just twisting open, straightening the front leg, playing with that. If you want to twist to the opposite direction. And then step your back foot forward. Going to land in warrior one on the left. Let's take it into Humble Warrior. Feel free to play around here with this stretch. We'll meet in a forward fold, bringing both feet together. Chest bows towards the knees. Let's take our hands behind our back here, lifting through the shoulders, dropping the neck and head. Take another deep breath. And then separate your feet. Come into king chair pose. Reach up when you're ready. And twist to one side. Let's go ahead and reach back up. Keeping the hips low. Inhale, exhale, twist to the other side. One more deep breath. Exhale to release. These fingers come around the big toes. Deep breath here. Try a halfway lift with your spine. And then release your hands. Move into a goddess squat. So take your feet even wider than your king chair pose. And sink your hips down. Perhaps you want to bring your hands together and press your elbows into your knees. Do your best to lift your chest. Coming into the breath. So you're here. Maybe you want to move into a crow pose. Maybe you want to stay in your goddess squat. See where your practice leads you this morning. And we'll rest in hero's pose or child's pose. Take your pick. Find a resting point when you're ready for that rest. And after that brief rest, we'll meet back up in our downward facing dog. Right toes lift to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, toes to the sky. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, toes to the sky. Open the knee, flip your dog. Press through the hips. Wheel pose is here if you want to go for that full wheel pose. Make your way back, three-legged dog. Step up into crescent lunge. Settling in, take another deep breath. And let that go. Hands to the mat, chaturanga. Walk your feet together behind you. Take a big breath. Lift your left toes up. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale up. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale up. Flip dog. Downward facing dog. Crescent lunge. Chaturanga. Right side crescent lunge. Let's add a twist to this crescent lunge. Back up, crescent lunge. Chaturanga release. Left side crescent lunge. Add your twist. Back up to center crescent lunge. Downward dog or chaturanga. Take a few moments in your downward dog. Feel what you feel. Stretch it out. Right toes lift up. Knee to nose. Crescent lunge. Hands to heart. Push off your back foot. Airplane. Crescent lunge. Warrior 2. Open to the side. Reverse your warrior. Triangle pose. Warrior 2. Reverse your warrior. Chaturanga. We'll meet in downward dog. Left foot lifts. Crescent lunge. Hands to heart. Airplane. Crescent lunge. Warrior 2. Reverse. Triangle. Warrior 2. Reverse. Chaturanga. Child's pose. Two more breaths. Really settling into rest. And then come up for camel pose. Bring your knees together. Tops of your feet rest on the mat. Coming up onto the knees, press your hands to your back and let your hips press forward. Have a seat in hero's pose when you're complete. We're going to go for two more of those. Try some pelvic tilts. Those feel awesome after your camel. And just rest in hero's pose for a few breaths, allowing your gaze to soften and your hands to relax in your lap. Shoulders relax, sitting back onto your heels. Take a deep breath and let that go. Start to flutter your eyes open and make your way forward onto your belly. Reach your hands behind you. Set up the locust pose. Make sure you're looking right in front of your face. Finding that length through the spine. Reaching back with toes and fingers. Let's take a few more breaths. And release. Let's bend the knees, shake out the legs and feet, and then set up for a floor bow, grabbing those ankles, pressing ankles into the hands to lift the chest. And releasing down to the mat. Let's bring the hands under the chin and shake the feet out side to side. Go ahead and extend one leg down and grab your opposite foot, either with your hand or tucking it into your elbow. We're going to work a little bit on stretching out the quad and maybe even that hip flexor a little bit. Deep breaths. Try that same thing on the opposite side. And then extend your legs long. Bring your toes together. Take your hands in front of you, pointing fingers out and away, and lift yourself up into superhero. And release down. Take a big breath here. Exhale. And then inhale back up, superhero. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, release. One more time, inhale, lift. And exhale, release. Make your way into an upward facing dog. Drop to tabletop, child's pose. Push the hips back. Feel a delicious stretch in the back. Inhale and exhale. Maybe you want to take your hands down by your feet for show pose. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful work. Start to make your way all the way back into your downward facing dog. And step 1 foot forward. Walk your hands all the way to the center of the mat. So turn your feet towards the side of your mat, coming into a straddle. We're just going to pause in this straddle. Feel free to do what feels good in your body. If you just want to stay, maybe you want to take ragdoll arms. Feel free to take lunges or twists, allowing that back to stretch out. Show you a couple little twists, planting one hand to the floor, reaching up with the other. Then walk your hands back to the top of your mat. We're going to come into a pyramid pose. Pyramid pose just looks like a shortened warrior. However, we can go to some of our balance postures from here. So make sure this back foot is turned out just a little bit. Think about squaring your hips, maybe taking your hands to your hips even to feel that. And then drop one hand, preferably your opposite hand from your foot, down to the mat and twist, reaching up. And then try that on the opposite side, bringing one hand down and twisting open. And then let's go ahead and bring that back foot forward and step your other foot back just a little bit. So one foot is still in the lead, the other foot is stepped back. I'm pointing out slightly at an angle. Let's go ahead and take that twist here. And then make your way into a fold, bringing both feet together. Slide your hands under your feet for gorilla pose. Bend your knees a lot, drop your head. And let's take goddess squat. Wide knees, wide feet. Chest stays lifted. Crow pose is here if you want to try it on again. Or perhaps a headstand. And we'll rest in hero's pose. Perhaps in this hero's pose you tuck your toes. Nice work. Go ahead and come to seat on your bottom. Stretch your legs out in front for staff pose. Let's take a big inhale to lift the arms overhead. Exhale and fold your chest towards your legs. Then come into seated butterfly, bringing the soles of your feet together. Let's lift the arms up again overhead, taking a big breath, and fold forward. While we're here, we're going to take some seated tree. seated tray on the opposite side. Let's take a wide straddle with our feet. Take a big breath in to reach the hands up overhead. Exhale and pull forward. You want to grab your toes and keep your hands on the floor, whatever feels good here. And release onto your back. Hug the knees to chest. Rock side to side. While we're here on our back, we're going to set up for our reclined pigeon pose. So go ahead and figure out how you would get into that by crossing one foot over your knee and then maybe staying there and working on that hip. You can also hug your opposite thigh in. See what feels good here. Really stretching, really breathing here. Maybe your stretch isn't going so deeply because you're not breathing. So take that time to inhale and exhale. And go ahead and try that half pigeon again on the other side. Let's go ahead and release that pigeon and bring the soles of the feet together, resting everything down onto the mat, taking a hand to the heart or the belly. Allow your eyes to close and just breathe with me here. Let's go ahead and bring your knees together. Walk the feet in towards the bottom. Take your arms out by your sides and lift your hips for bridge pose. Inhale and exhale. Let's go ahead and bring the hips down and shake the knees and feet out side to side. I'm not sure if you can hear this morning, but it's raining outside and it sounds incredibly peaceful. So we're just going to end on that note, making our way into a meditation, finishing up with our favorite postures, and taking another bridge pose. Don't forget, you can also move into wheel pose. We're going to take a final set, bridge or wheel pose. You might like to try Happy Baby. You might like to try a number of other postures. I'm just going to go through some closing postures, including Happy Baby pose, plow pose, feet overhead, and shoulder stand. Feel free to go ahead through your final postures. Uh, Maybe a twist, maybe laying on your back, hugging knees to chest. This morning, I'm going to read to you before I settle into Savasana. This morning's message was awesome, so I thought I would share and give us some time to meditate on it. So feel free while you're stretching to lay out in your Savasana. You could also sit up in meditation. We're going to take about 10 minutes, the final 10 minutes of this practice to work on meditation. So whatever feels comfortable for you, maybe laying out feels better, maybe sitting up feels better. And you're welcome to grab, if you have any incense or essential oils, some sort of aromatherapy or candle that will encourage you to stay present in your meditation. For me, I really like using essential oils like eucalyptus and tea tree and lavender, things that are kind of pungent and strong, and something that I'll notice when I'm sitting or laying with my eyes closed. So go ahead, and if you have those nearby, feel free to grab them. And feel free to just come back to this if you need to take a few minutes to get set up. Um, I am going to also light some sage this morning. Sage is a wonderful tool for clearing the air and the space around you. It can be used not just for cleansing the air, but also for purifying the mind and calming the mind. So maybe think about that if you want something more for your meditation or yoga practice. And you can pick up sage at local shops that might carry essential oil or aromatherapy or maybe other holistic or all natural products. I picked up mine at Sunrise Soap Company, and it has lasted me for a while. So I highly encourage you to get some sage. Just gonna find a lighter real quick. You want to make sure if you're lighting anything that you have a fireproof or flame-proof container or plate. If you're following along and you're laying out or you're sitting up, just go ahead and take a deep breath with me. Tune your ears into today's reading. August 19th. Your destiny is now. The train seemed to move endlessly toward the horizon as I drove along beside it. To me, trains symbolize destiny. For a long time, the concept of destiny confused me. I wondered how to find my destiny. I hoped I had one. I wondered what it would feel like when I got there. But destiny doesn't bewilder me anymore. I enjoy seeing trains. Destiny isn't some distant place or a peak of fame and fortune. Destiny isn't one moment in our lives, one time we shine for all the world to see. Those moments are nice if they come, but there's more to destiny than that. Destiny is now. Destiny is each moment of our lives, shining through, linking together, like the endless cars on the train. Destiny means embracing each moment, being present for it, cherishing it because it is our now. Whether it holds exhilaration, discovery, sadness, tough decisions, confusion, or tender love, each moment is our destiny. These moments of destiny link together in an endless chain to become our lives. Let yourself live and be in each moment, with each person, learning each lesson along the way. Destiny isn't some place we go, destiny is where we are. And wherever you are, go ahead and take a couple of deep breaths, settling deeper into stillness. Allowing your mind to clear, or perhaps your mind is still meditating or processing on that reading. Just notice. And speaking on to that reading for today, I was one of those people that thought destiny was a faraway place. And so I feel encouraged knowing that my destiny is now. Start to take some deeper breaths in through the nose and out through the nose or the mouth. If you're laying in Savasana, start to wiggle your fingers and toes. If you're seated, begin to roll your shoulders up towards your ears and down your back. And if you're in Savasana, feel free to join me in seated when you're ready. It might also feel good if you've been in seated to take a couple little hip rolls, hip circles, or anything else that feels good and brings motion into your body.
And when you're ready, pull your eyes open and take a look around the room. Turn up the corners of your mouth. Take a big breath in, take your hands overhead, and draw your palms together at heart center. Exhaling. Join me in closing with 3 ohms. Take a breath. Press your thumb knuckles to your forehead center. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. May this practice support you on your journey. Go ahead and place your thumb knuckles at your mouth for loving speech and at your heart center for loving intention. Until our eyes meet again, I say namaste. Thank you for joining me for this power yoga practice. My name's Evie, and thank you, York YMCA, on behalf of hosting this yoga class. Take care, and I'll see you soon.